answer any questions you might have. So I have prepared some information that I can pass out. That will probably be a good starting place. I thought it might help just to, first of all, give a little background information on our company, and then go over what we're proposing and what we're asking you to invest in, and then there's a little bit about how we would go about the project, and then answer any questions you might have. Our company's been in business for a little over 28 years, servicing city government. We are the authors of the Summit accounting system. And as authors of the product, we have the ability, and we do update the product on an annual basis to make sure that it stays current with technology and also any regulatory changes as well as improvements. In terms of how we would approach the project, if we had the good fortune of getting the okay on the project, is we would come up and help get started on the accounting first, come back at your next payroll run and get that up and running, and that would be the heart of your accounting operations. And then at a later date, after giving you a little time to get accustomed to those programs, come back and help you with the miscellaneous billing and the permit software. One of the things that might be helpful to know is that we're proposing converting what's in your current system, and so that you don't have to start over and build your records. And I need to specify, be more specific, for your general ledger, your accounts payable, and your payroll. We've provided automatic conversions for those databases. And we can accomplish that without any help from your incumbent vendor. And we've done conversions off the incumbent vendor many times. So what you can see on the investment summary is I've got listed out the individual software modules, and the total software cost is $19,450. And then we've recommended 11 days of on-site services, and those services are when we come out to go live with a certain phase of the project. And we charge $650 for our time on site, and then we also bill for any expenses to get here, and that's outlined in the notes in terms of $25 travel time while we're driving, mileage, meals, and motels. The accounting and software would be coming from the Waterloo area, so we don't have to have a lot of travel expenses. For some of the specialty modules, such as the permits and the miscellaneous accounts receivable module, then that would probably come from Omaha, so there'd be a little more expense involved in those trips.
When you say $25, you're talking $25 for what?
I'm sorry, per hour.
$25 per hour.
To get here and back.
Really?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I never got paid anything for travel back and forth when we had projects or sales things going on.
Yeah.
Is that pretty common in?
Yeah, it is very common in our industry to charge for the expenses to get to and from, partly because I think of the nature of the clientele that we call on, being that they're all very remote. In other words, cities are spread out throughout the area that you cover. One of the things that we do as a company try to minimize that impact on your budget is we have people located remotely so that we're not coming all the way from, out of state, that sort of thing. So we do have people out of we've got an individual out of West Des Moines, one out of Davenport, and one out of the Waterloo area. And we've got listed the automatic conversions that we've proposed. And the way we handle the automatic conversions is that with Barb's permission, we log into your system and we pull the data via the reports that we print to a file. And then we write custom software for every bit of data that we're going to convert, or we're going to read it and write it over here into our product. And so because we're doing that custom programming to do that, there's a fair amount of expense involved in that phase of the project. We put a lot of effort into that, and so as we're doing those custom conversions, the other thing we do is we do multiple tests of that. So we'll get reports of the data that we're going to pull, and we'll write our programs, and we'll keep iterating through that till we can balance to the penny, and we can verify that we've got an accurate conversion. We put a lot of effort into that. And so in addition to that, we've also, our database is a pervasive SQL database that we've proposed. So we've outlined that cost. And then we also outlined the receipt printer at the front counter. Our software is designed to send a code to that receipt printer. So it's one that we've designed to work with our receiving of money at the counter. So as people come in to make payments, then it will print out a receipt, endorse the back of the check for the type of receipt that they paid, as well as what bank you want that deposited in. And then there's a day-in procedure that allows you to balance your cash drawer prior to making a deposit in your bank. And there's a day-in report for that purpose. And then I might add that the pricing that we have here, we honored when this started. It was late, probably the first time was back in late 2011. And so there was a lot of evaluations that have gone into it. We went in and honored our old pricing. And we also honored that same discount that we offered back then. So we tried to provide you an excellent value for the services that we're asking. So what we came up with this initial investment of $36,990 is what we're asking you to consider to invest in our products and services. Also, it might help to know, in light of some of the current situation, which I won't go into, and because of some of your budget constraints, what we offer to do is normally we ask for 50% down because we're going to start the work before we come on site. What we're offering to do is a small down payment of $5,000, the balance of the 50% in your next fiscal year, so it doesn't impact this fiscal year because of budget constraints and so forth, since you weren't planning on having a need for this at that time. And then the remaining 50% we bill out as we complete that phase of the project is how we handle that. So after we go live with the accounting, then we invoice that, send it out, and then as we go live with the payroll, we invoice the second half of that, and same for the other modules. It might also help to know that we are the leader in the state. We've got 280 cities that we're servicing in Iowa alone. We believe we've gotten to that leadership position by offering features that are specific to Iowa. And so we hired people that have expertise here in the state. We looked at ways that we could add features to the software that would be beneficial just to our Iowa clients, and we added those features. So just a couple things that we do is we interface to the state budget form. So the aggregating of all the monies that go into each of those columns of that lengthy state budget form, we can import that from our database right into that form. There's obviously work going into the budget process, so I don't mean to oversimplify things, but we're the only vendor that can do that, and we've been doing it for over 10 years. And so that's just one of the examples of the things that are unique to servicing our Iowa communities. We also have the ability to generate a report for your annual report in a similar fashion. You aggregate numbers that get plugged into that spreadsheet that's the annual report. currently the state does not have an import feature to the annual report, so we give you the totals to manually key into that, but you don't have to do all the aggregating. And we have talked to the Department of Management and also the State Auditor's Office, and they've indicated a desire to add that import feature for the annual report. But I obviously can't represent what the state's gonna do, but I will share this with you. If they were to add that ability to import a file, we've got the infrastructure to do it today. And so we're hopeful that that might be something that might be available to our clients down the road. But obviously, I can't make any promises there.
How many cities in Iowa governments do currently support?
A little about 280. In fact, I would venture to say that we have more customers using our software than the next two software products combined. And so we've been blessed with a lot of business in Iowa, partly because of the features that we've added that are unique to Iowa, and then also partly because of the quality of support that we provide. We've also been very fortunate from one year to the next. We've been able to maintain over 99% of our clients. And so when you're in the business of helping people do their accounting and so forth, that's quite an accomplishment. And I don't believe any of the other vendors can say that. In fact, we've taken over 100 of the Tyler Corporation customers in already. And then we've also, some of the other leaders taken quite a few of those as well.
So then, do you, after this is all done and everything's up and running, it's been piloted and so on and so forth, then annually, is there there's a cost, somehow or another, there's gotta be a cost annually?
You bet. That's an excellent question. If you pull the investment summary out, we've also outlined that, because nobody likes surprises. And so our annual fees are spelled out in two primary fees. And so you can see here that the annual license fee for the modules that we propose is $2,334, as is the annual product support agreement. And the annual license fee pays for the right to continue to use the software as well as get all the updates. And so you automatically receive updates as we're working on that. And we have 10 employees that are involved in the development and quality control department. These fees are designed to help pay for their salaries and benefits. And so that's why there's a fee associated with the update process. The concept is that we keep adding to what we have as opposed to replace what we have. Some companies will have a planned obsolescence. They come out with a new product and ask you to rebuy that. That's not our model. Our model is to add to what we have. And so we have the annual fees to help provide for those updates. And then the product support agreement provides for unlimited support of those modules of trained personnel. So no matter what questions your staff has, they can initiate a support call via our toll-free number. They can also do it through the help menu through our software, which basically just creates a email with the nature of the request, or they can just use their email to initiate a support question. And we've got 15 individuals in the support department that's what they do, is they go out and do installations, and they also work the help desk and help answer any questions that we have. And so what we've found is that if we have quality products that make your staff's jobs easier and it's well supported, then we're going to be successful, and that's been a good model for us. And then we also have an internet annual support fee of $150, and that helps pay for some of the tools that we use that we license from other vendors. So the majority of the support is done by logging into that workstation of that employee that has that question. It's a permission-based only. So the employee has to give us permission to be able to see their desktop. And then it's kind of like a two-way mirror. We're both looking at the same desktop so that we can show how to do something, answer a question, maybe have the employee do something as we oversee that to make sure that we've done a good job, and I should say our support staff has done a good job, as opposed to myself. We've got people smarter than me that can do those things and help you with that. I might also mention that we've given detailed demonstrations and provided references, and it's a kind of a tight-knit group for city offices with city clerks, and they talk amongst each other. They go to the same meetings, and quite frankly, that's another reason why we've been so successful, because when we take good care of our clients, they tell other cities, and that's where our referrals come from, is from other cities, and so that's really why we've been able to build a customer database in Iowa and other states like we've been able to.
You mentioned that you build on your old system, your core system. How long have you been using the core system?
Yeah, the Windows, I'm trying to think when we came out with our Windows version of our software. It's been probably, let's see, at least 15 years, somewhere in that neighborhood. And our philosophy when it comes to technology is that when you come out with new technology, the main thing is you do it well. And so the next thing is you only do it when it's benefiting the client. And it's never done to obsolete what you have and replace it and then ask you to buy again. And so, you know, our hope is to earn your business and keep your business and continue to offer additional Windows-type capabilities, as well as other things that the state might come up with and so forth.
So you're updating, for example, now a lot of systems are using XP Windows.
Yeah.
Which they're taking away all their support. So if you were based on that, you would automatically upgrade so that a Windows 7 or...
Well, the nice thing about being on a true Windows software product is that we haven't had to change any code in our software from Windows 98 to the very latest operating system with Microsoft. And so we do recommend people upgrade away from XP because you no longer get those security updates. And since it's a world where everybody's on the internet for business reasons, you need that security. But it hasn't impacted us as far as causing us to have to change anything in the nature of our software.
Now, do you provide in your system, provide, I don't want to say, firewall so that nobody can hack in and get all of the information off our system?
We certainly can provide those services. We do have a Microsoft engineer that's our resource manager that's very good at things like that. And so I don't know who's currently maintaining your server from a hardware standpoint. What we don't do is hardware repair business, partly because of the nature where our clients are miles away, and so it's better to have, as far as the physical equipment, somebody that's providing that service. One of the things that we have in our office, and there's a lot of good brands out there, but if you're looking at buying any new equipment, there are national brands like Dell and other brands like that, HP, where you can get on-site services through their service representations, and they have next day type service that's available as well for hardware repair. But I don't know, Barb, if you have a vendor that handles that or not, but we don't get in the hardware repair side of things.
So I guess this is a question for Barb or Bonnie or whomever, have you guys or Steve or whomever, have we had people who've talked to other cities, others that use their services or anything like that?
I do.
Okay.
At our regular conferences, we've got our annual training in Ames, where Data Tech is present. Janan, who is an individual with their agency, usually is there giving a presentation or a session. We have our annual municipal finance, or biannual municipal finance officers meetings, which are in Des Moines. And if you want to touch on that, that's one differentiation between our current software and their software. They offer local training, which we don't have.
One of the things that Barb's referring to is that on a twice-a-year basis, we have group training sessions so that as we come out with new releases, we can train on those new features so that your staff can implement those new features. And we hold at the IMFOA meeting on the Wednesday before that conference kicks off, where most people are coming in on Wednesday anyway. We have, that's one of our 3 locations in Iowa, and we have over 100 people that participate in both the spring and fall IMFOA meeting. If you're not able to attend the IMFOA meeting, we hold one at Waverly, which is one of our customers that's also sponsors that twice a year. And then on the other side of the state, Lamar's is another customer that sponsors meetings twice a year. So our philosophy of a company is to provide on-site training when you get started, but to continue to provide individualized training because things change, software features need to be added, and if you get new software but you don't get that training on how to use it, everybody's busy and it's hard to implement and start using those, and so we found that to be very beneficial. We put a lot of work into those meetings. Our nature of our training at those meetings is to do it more graphically or by picture, if you will, rather than writing a book. And so we show the new screens with bullets and arrows and circled new fields with small explanations, so it's easier to simulate that. We also have a library of training that can be done before we come on site or afterwards through our web portal. And then that provides for a free way to have a new person that comes on board that maybe needs to learn how to enter in invoices as a tutorial to do that. And so we provide tools like that are available for you as well.
Also, to answer your question, Steve Deers had this service, I think, was it in Monona?
Yes.
And has had a very good experience with it. And when we were discussing some of the other issues we were having with Tyler Technologies, he made it pretty clear that those issues were not the same issues that they ever experienced with DataTech. So I would say that to help answer your question, there's we had an in-person person here who's no longer here, but who had an excellent experience with DataTech.
Well, and my only reason for the question, most of us are new to this whole issue that the office is living through, and then without Steve here, so it's kind of like, I don't want to say we're flying blind, but some of us are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the fact is that when we did change our software, DataTech was one of the 2 that we had looked at and interviewed along with the current one we have. Barb had experience with Tyler. Steve had experience with DataTech. This price he's quoting us is the same one he quoted us back then. So even though things have gotten more expensive, things have changed, he's staying with that offer to us. What we thought we were going to get from Tyler, what was promised to us, has not materialized.
I understand
So
that.
they're
Yeah,
just now
I
wanting to
get
promise they'll do it, amazingly. And so that's kind of where we came. But so it's nice that they could have raised their bid knowing we need to change, but they are staying with the same price they quoted us back, 2 years ago, I think, that this originally came out.
Did we ever get any money back from that bonding?
No, we haven't. We're not sure where that's at.
My opinion is we should continue to use their services for the next 6 months, and then at that point, I'm going to try to get some money back. But we're stuck. We're stuck with a product that doesn't work very well, but I don't want to get crosswise with them where we have no support at all for another 6 months. So I think we're sort of stuck with them for at least 6 more months, and then we'll deal with trying to get some money back.
Is that when their contract ends?
No, the contract isn't up for, it's a ongoing contract, actually, where we're gonna terminate it, and then we're gonna send out a notice of termination after, that's gonna end in 6 months. But we have a lease that we entered into at the same time for the purchase of the software. And that lease is only about halfway through the lease life. And I don't want to get into much of the details, but I'm hopeful that we can maybe have some negotiating strength because we still owe them money for the lease. And if they sold us a product that wasn't
Received.
yeah, it wasn't received, I'm not sure we have to pay it in the lease. But I don't want to monkey with that until after we're done.
And we know we
With
have
the
something
support.
that can work.
Right.
Okay.
Well, we've apparently got problems. I've been approached with comments about payroll checks not being right, and they have to figure their own checks, and I don't think that our employees should have to put up with that. They have to wait the next pay period to get their checks, and it's apparently a problem with this company we're with, and I
That's not
think
totally
we should look
accurate.
into something anyway. Is that, what's that?
I said that's not totally accurate.
Is that right?
They're
Okay.
getting their checks, but they're not always maybe as
Oh, I
correct
know
as they should
They
be.
sit down their first hour when they paid,
Regardless of the
redo their checks, I know.
We have issues regardless of what software company we have, and it's with the timesheets that we utilize or the timekeeping system that we have. So no matter what company we decide to utilize for our software company, it's issues outside of that, so.
Is this something that could be corrected, that we could correct here, or what do we
We
need?
just need to figure out a better timekeeping
No,
system.
I'm not criticizing him, these comments come to me, and
It's been ongoing, and the problem, half the problem is, most of our departments utilize a time clock. And then the department supervisors take the time cards and translate it to a one-page timesheet. And, you know, a lot of it is education and training, and department heads not being familiar with payroll and our policies, and accurately ensuring that the time card gets transposed accurately to the time sheet. So when it gets up here, there's a lot of time, unnecessary time being spent, when it should be the department heads. You know, once it gets here, we should just have to data enter, you know, Vicki should have to do a quick run through, data enter the numbers and produce the payroll. But the employees are taking it upon themselves when they don't